And this right here, folks, is the Chysis Laeves. And I believe this is the most interesting growth structure in the regards to all of the orchids that I got today. It definitely has such an interesting way it grows. Now, as you can see, the foliage is amazing on this plant. Definitely a focal point. And it actually reminds me of a palm frond or a palm. And of course, this gives a very tropical feel with this plant. Now, as you can see, the bulbs actually look somewhat like the catasetum in the aspect that is very plump, and of course how the leaves come from the bulb itself and how it has a similar way of kind of fanning out. Now, it also has a similar way of blooming as well, in the regards that when it does decide to bloom, it will go into its hibernation period, losing all of its wonderful foliage and then becoming bald, like this little guy. And as you can see, that looks very much similar to what a catasetum looks like. And of course, after it loses all of its leaves and it endures the colder weather, it will give off its blooms. Now, the blooms on here actually remind me somewhat of a cymbidium, and the color is absolutely fabulous in a way that it gives off this very orange and white colored bloom. Again, this is the Chysis Laeves, a very interesting and visually appealing plant. Now, when I bought this chysis, I actually asked the owner of the nursery if this was capable of producing its blossoms this year. And she actually stated that no, it was not. It actually has to get much larger than this. So in actual reality, I more than likely would not have a blossom until next season, which I didn't mind because of course this orchid right here is very pretty. Now folks, here's where it gets a little freaky. Okay, so you guys see this new growth, and there's actually two of them. Two new growths on this plant. So of course I was delighted. Of course, it means that this is going to grow healthier, have two more pseudobulbs, and of course more blossoms. So who could complain about that? Not me. Well, here's the funny thing about this new growth. Dun-na-na-na. Okay, so we have some very cute new growth right here. Quite adorable, wouldn't you say? Now, if we go down, what is it that you see right there, folks? Coming right out of this new growth right here. Yes, that's right. You guys see it. This is actually a bud that's going to bloom. Now, how crazy is that? And you guys remember my Chysis orchid, right? The one that wasn't supposed to make bud or bloom this season, but actually decided to give me a sneak peek. And look at that, folks. It created only one bud for me, and as you guys can remember, it had this tiny, tiny new growth right there. And look at that. The spike and also the bud is actually almost bigger than the actual new growth itself that it's coming off of, which is very, very funny. Anyways, so this is the actual bud right here. Pretty neat, right? And look at the size. It's gotten, get away, leaf. It's gotten to be quite a nice size. And if you take a look, it has, I don't know what color that is. I thought this was going to be like an orange and a white, but it actually looks like magenta or maybe pink from here. Wow, very nice, very plump. I just cannot wait to see this bloom. So I wanted to do a brief update on this and show you some growth and kind of the status of what's going on with it now. Okay, so when I first showed you the orchid, the new growth were just very teeny, weeny, and it was absolutely absurd that an actual bud could be coming out of the teeny, weeny little new growth. Well, as you can see now, it has grown quite considerably in a month's time, and let us take a look at the bud itself. Okay, folks, and here it is. As you can see, it is starting to bloom, and I first thought it was going to be orange and perhaps white, but it actually looks like it's some sort of light pink and fuchsia. Yeah, as far as what I can see. Now, of course, it's not fully open, so we're going to kind of have to be patient and wait. At least I'm going to have to be patient and wait. Hopefully I won't chew off all of my nail, because this has been a nail-biting experience. But folks, we're almost there. Okay, folks, and here it is. Drum roll, please! Da-da-da-da! Here is the beautiful Chysis blossom. Wow, what a beautiful, beautiful color. Now, as you can see, the sepals and the petal has like an outer splash of this faded fuchsia color. And if you take a look inside of the throat, you are seeing so many different patterns. It definitely has some stripings. And if you look really close into the center, you are going to notice some spottings and some streaking of that beautiful, beautiful color. And it actually looks like a deep, deep red. And if you take a look at the very top of the pollen cap, I don't know if you guys can see this, but there are actual spottings or freckles on the top of the pollen cap. And I will have to say, folks, this flower is so waxy, so fleshy and hard to the touch. It's definitely a very durable blossom. And this blossom is actually supposed to last for about 2 to 3 months. So you are getting just a beautiful flower with such a longevity to last all of those months. And I really can't wait until the next blooming season, because as you guys know, the older the plant will get, the more blooms it will give you. So hopefully next year I'll get a lot more blooms versus just one. But this year I'm just happy with this one. Again, this is my Chysis orchid, my Chysis Laeves, and I am a happy camper today. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to yet another orchid adventure with me and my Chysis orchid.